Greetings, human children, children of the cosmos. Today we'll be reading from a really amazing book by an author called Timothy Good, and it reads, Contact Has Been Established. The book is titled Alien Liaison, The Ultimate Secret. Timothy Good. Alien Contact, the Final Evidence. In above top secret, Timothy Good documented the systematic cover-up of information about UFOs by the intelligence communities of the world. Now he reveals the hard evidence of extraterrestrial visitation. Farm animals have been surgically mutilated by means of technologies unknown to human medicine. A top-secret US military installation in Nevada has dismantled and test-flown alien craft. Doctors have examined live aliens, dissected and photographed the bodies of others recovered from crashed vehicles. These are not the claims of a wild-eyed fanatic, but carefully documented research findings supported by interviews with key US military, scientific and intelligence personnel. Alien Liaison takes the investigation of UFO phenomena to a new level. Its astonishing revelations are impossible to ignore. It will change the way we look at ourselves and the universe forever. So, I'm going to be reading page 213 because I thought that this was the most powerful bit that I came across. I mean, there is some really amazing stuff in this book. Really, just really out there. But it's scientifically backed. There's stuff that's this guy is pretty. He's got good credentials. I think he's a scientist. So let's get into it. Culture shock. Our own galaxy, one of countless billions, is comprised of over 100 billion stars. And statistically, it is probable that life has evolved in some planetary systems to the extent that space travel and colonization are commonplace. In assuming that the lifetime of advanced civilizations is 10 million years, science writer Ian Ridpath speculates that there could be as many as 1 million advanced civilizations like ourselves, or more advanced in our galaxy, and surmises that the main interest of an old and advanced civilization may be in developing creatures of the galaxy, as the anthropologists of the Western world are increasingly fascinated by the Stone Age societies that remain on Earth. Dr. Bernard Oliver of NASA's SETI project believes in the possibility that an interconnecting galactic community of advanced cultures already exists. But many astronomers and exobiologists concur that although we might have been visited in the past and are certain to be visited in the future, I'm guessing that says in the future, just the next page. Let's see if I was right. Future, I was right. Present day visits. One minute, guys, I'm just going to get this flipping. Present day visits are out of the question. The logic of such reasoning escapes me. That contact has so far been restricted to relatively few people, rather than on a massive scale, may be for a number of sound reasons. Some visitors, for example, may not want us to know what they are doing here, and in any event can probably go about their business without needing to contact anyone at all. When they do, they ensure that the contactee is left in a state of confusion. Disinformation could well be an inevitable consequence of contact. Others may be so far advanced technologically, culturally, and spiritually that contact with our relatively retarded species retarded species might be seen as a disadvantageous for both parties. In this regard, the common comments allegedly made by Daniel Fry's extraterrestrial friend in 1949 are worth noting. We will never attempt to thrust either our knowledge or our culture upon your people, he said, and we will not offer we will never offer it unless there is substantial evidence that they desire it, and that his would be advantageous to them. There is certainly no such evidence at the present time. It is also true that the purpose of this visit is not entirely can't even say it, philanthropic. Philanthropic. It's a big word for me at this time of the night. Since there are some materials upon your planet which we could use to the advantage of both our peoples, materials which you have in great abundance but which are rather scarce elsewhere in this solar system, while the use of some of these materials would be of assistance to us, our services to your people will not be made contingent upon such use. Any knowledge or aid which we can give will be freely offered. If we took steps to force the acceptance of our reality upon their consciousness, Fry was told, about 30% of the people would consider us as gods and could attempt to place upon us all responsibility for their welfare. This is a responsibility we could not be permitted to assume, even if we were able to discharge it, which of course we are not. Most of the remaining 70% would adopt the belief that we were potential tyrants or dictators who were planning to enslave their world, and many would begin to seek means to destroy us. Well, we've seen the films of War of the World, and we've seen the other film Independence Day and things like that. And we are a very destructive species, aren't we? Regardless of whether or not we believe Daniel Fry's contact story to be pure fiction, I, for one, do not. The sentiments expressed by the alleged extraterrestrial accord well with some modern day thinking. The perceptive writer Michael Machaud, Michaud, I can't even pronounce it right, Michaud, former director of the Office of Advanced Technology at the United States Department of State, for example, points out that we are likely to project our hopes, fears, and prejudices onto a hypothetical alien culture. At one extreme, he writes, we think of aliens as altruistic teachers who will show us the road to survival, wisdom, and prosperity, or godlike figures who will raise humanity from its fallen condition. At the other, we see the aliens as implacable, grotesque conquerors, whose miraculous but malevolently applied technology can only be overcome by simple virtues. Michaud goes on to speculate that contact will probably cause many people to attribute events to alien intervention, citing that the present cultural response to the UFO phenomena as an example, and in discussing other problems of contact. Michaud also comes remarkably close to the truth as I see it. He reasons that individual nations or special interest groups might try and conduct exclusive dialogues with the aliens in order to exploit the contact, and continues, political and governmental leaders would be concerned about the impact that contact could have on their populations and might try to let through only those ideas they considered safe. National security policymakers might argue for classification of the contact and the information received. Some scholars, particularly those personally involved in the first contact, might equally possessive about the information and the channel, especially if they distrusted governments and held a low opinion of the general population. As Bob Lazar stresses, although advanced alien technology could be put to use for the benefit of all, the same technology could equally well be used for destructive purposes, such as the construction of super bomb. This is why there's no hope for humanity, because you've got the military industrial complex, and until we dismantle that as the people, we come together against that, there's no hope. Michael Mushard foresees another problem relating to the acquisition of alien technology, that it could undermine our spirit of invention and independent initiative, forcing massive readjustment and unemployment and threatening existing economic institutions. I take the view that those few within government who are aware of the situation are acting in our best interests by gradually presenting the information in such a way that it will lessen the political, economic and religious and psychological shock to our culture. Oh, we get so easily shocked, don't we? A few men in dresses and that's such a shock. Well, just a few men in dresses is such a shock. Well, will we really be able to cope with extraterrestrial contact? I don't think we would. We can't even handle a few men in dresses, and that's such a big shock. So I don't think we really are ready, really. Certainly not a lot of people, some people that I'm aware of. But I think some of us are. So, but eventually the ultimate secret will be revealed. The truth about UFOs may be painful for us to face, and this might provide a continuing rationale for the government to maintain secrecy, says the astronomer and former astronaut Dr. Brian O'Leary. The truth will and must be known eventually. Continuing our denials and fears, in my opinion, is only adding to the problem. We are all in this together. The evidence available to me suggests that regardless of any move by governments, we are being visited by a number of extraterrestrial groups. Some could be visiting for less than benign purposes, others perhaps as anthropologists or tourists, but it seems logical that some groups have established a liaison with a relatively small number of our people, partly perhaps to lend us a helping hand as we reach falteringly towards the stars. If any of the contactees have been told the truth, we may owe our very survival to some of these beings from elsewhere, since it is claimed that on several occasions they have intervened to prevent nuclear catastrophe. In addition to being motivated by compassion, they may also have a vested interest in the survival of our planet and its species. Is it really so absurd to suggest that contact has already taken place? Most of our notions about alien contact are predicated on what we have absorbed from science fiction. The facts are infinitely more complex than we have been led to believe. As I have tried to show, let us hope that the advantages of contact will ultimately outweigh the disadvantages, leading to a more complete and profound understanding of our place in the universal scheme. So that was Contact Has Been Established. Timothy Good, Alien Liaison. Well, I hope you enjoy that, guys. What I might do as well is to summarize the book. So I might, once I've finished reading it, I might try and summarize it with the main examples and some of the main themes and some of the contents, and like brief it down so it's easily digestible. Okay, guys.